Hi. Um, I got a pretty interesting out of the ordin out of the ordinary ask today, and I figured that it would be a much more personal and easier for me and for whoever else, whoever sees this, to hear it, whatever. And before I jump in, I just got out of the shower, so ignore the whole drowned rat look right now. But the ask I got today. Hi, Um, last last month I was diagnosed with CRPS RSD, and I know you've had yours. You've I'm nervous. And I know that you've been diagnosed for quite a while now, and I was wondering, could you share a bit about your journey with this and how you came to terms with this? Well, first, um, just I feel like I should offer an apology that you have to go through this pain, but I was first, I was, I first started showing symptoms of CRPS when I was 6 years old. It was, I was at school and it was an indoor recess, and me and my friend were wrestling, and the teacher looked away. My friend jumped on me, and she landed weird on my leg, on my ankle, and she pulled on it, and there was a loud pop. So, and the pain just didn't go away. It it was just a reoccurring, it was always there, and we didn't know what was going on. So we went, and it was swollen, and it was all purple, and it was gross. So we went to the family doctor, and she said, "Whoa, I can't deal with this. I don't know how to handle this," and she sent me to an orthopedic surgeon. And there, my doctor, he didn't he's at the time he'd only had one other person with with the symptoms of this, and she unfortunately passed away. So he didn't know how to really not deal with it, but help me. And he suggested I get a leg cast. And every week I'd have to drive back down an hour to see him. Every week there'd be no change in my ankle, and my ankle gradually got worse. And I ended up spending about 9 months in a leg cast, which of course, not fun. That's when he realized that he didn't know how he could further help me anymore. So he sent me to the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto to their chronic pain management unit, and that's where I met like my doctors that I go to now, and they all right away they said, okay, you have stage 3 CRPS. And by that time, that was around grade 6. So I started showing symptoms, and I actually had my accident when I was 6. But I wasn't actually diagnosed till I was in grade 6. So there was a huge little gap there. And there was, it took me a long time to get, not used to it, but like to accept it as a part of me. Just with my personality, for the longest time, I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to find a way to change this. I'm going to do everything my doctors tell me. I'm going to all the physiotherapy I can, and I would do physio to the point where I was sitting there just bawling and I couldn't move, and it was bad. And I had to learn my limit. Of course, after the kids at school didn't understand, like this chick was in a leg cast for 9 months, and all of a sudden she's at school and she has like a cane, and like what the heck? And to their ignorant minds, they just saw no leg cast, no splint, nothing. So that meant that I was done. I was better. So they started to call me a faker. And that went on from grade 6 all the way to grade 8. And because of that, I firmly believed, I convinced myself that I was a faker, that I actually didn't have this, which sounds really silly, but because of all of the people telling me that, and I had family members tell me that, and just doctors, a lot of doctors I saw said it was just a load of baloney. So that, of course, was that was a huge setback in accepting this. But I once I started going to sick kids regular, I don't sleep. Once I started going there, I learned more. I learned that this isn't so rare, that I'm not alone. I learned that, like, there are ways that I can be supported. There's ways to help even take away the pain a little bit. There's, I just, it was a huge, it was a huge relief. Like, going from that, going that 6 year gap there or whatever, I don't know the gap, that gap of not knowing what was wrong with me to all of a sudden, like, wow, I have an actual diagnosis. I have doctors. They put me on 600 milligrams of gabapentin 3 times a day, and then 50 milligrams of amitriptyline at nighttime. And that's what I use for pain. Sometimes I'll use different, but sometimes I'll use that. Well, yeah, that's what I use mostly for my pain. But that doesn't take away the pain completely, not magic pills. No matter what, the pills just are there to help benefit your life, I guess. For me, they did a lot of help, but they don't take away at all. And at nighttime, I use sedatives. I take sedatives, and they numb me out a bit, so it's harder for me to feel the pain, which is really bad and it's not good, but that's what I've done. Right now, everybody in my family, we've all come to terms with it, except for my father. My mom, she has lupus, and she walks with a walker and a cane, so it's pretty normal in our house to have the cripple. So my mom's always been sick, so we're all used to this. So my brother, he helps me a lot. He helps me get around, that kind of thing. And my dad, you're obviously, I don't know your family or your friends, but there's always going to be that one person who's going to want to try and fix you, change you. But there's no, just ignore them. It's good to want to move forward and kind of get healthier with this, like get to the point where you're kind of stable, not just off the charts. But there's no magic cure, and that sounds really down, but it's the blunt truth. There's no cure. It's in you. If you wouldn't have gotten it when you did, you would have gotten it later in life. It doesn't matter if you could go back in time and change the day, like change what you did, you would have gotten it at another point. My advice just would be to accept yourself. Don't think of yourself as the cripple. Don't think of yourself as different. This, you're human. You have a chronic pain disease, yes, but that doesn't mean that you're different, that you're not as good as other people are. It's everybody has different points of view on like medication and everything else and doctors, but it's what it all comes down to is you. It's what you're comfortable with, what you're comfortable with doing. My computer just froze, I'm sorry. And just it's gonna come naturally after a while. It it's gonna get better. You're gonna learn what what's a trigger for your ankle. Sorry, I'm used to saying ankle. But you're gonna find what's a trigger for whatever you hurt. You're gonna find like what helps get rid of the pain the best, or you're gonna learn like what's the easiest way to manage, to deal, and it's gonna get better. And gonna you're gonna learn to not not love this, but to accept that this is a part of you, but it does not define you. This has been a really long video because I wanted to kind of go in depth, but I didn't want to take too long. But yeah, so if anybody's watched the whole thing, thank you, and I wish everybody who sees this and anybody who has any form of chronic pain good luck.